Ladies and gentlemen, we are on that road to WrestleMania, and it's so close. I can see it on the horizon, only 50 some odd days away from the grandest stage of them all. But before we get there, we need to roll on through Toronto, Ontario, Canada for a quick little PLE called the Elimination Chamber. Now, this is the second Elimination Chamber that Canada has gotten in the last 3 years, the previous one being back in 2023, where we saw Sami Zayn go up against Roman Reigns for that undisputed Universal Championship or whatever it was called. And yes, he broke my heart, okay? To this day, I cannot stand Roman Reigns because I was a mark. I fully believe Sami Zayn was going to win. I love you, Sami. But this video is all about my predictions for Elimination Chamber, and there's a lot that could go down. You could make an argument that this year's Elimination Chamber is just as stacked as it's ever been. Like, we're coming off the heels of the most stacked Royal Rumble in WWE history, or at least arguably the most stacked Rumble in history. And now we have arguably the most stacked men's and women's Elimination Chambers ever. Like, this is great. I know it's not for a championship, so other ones maybe are viewed on a higher level. But this right here, these two chambers are gonna slap. There's also an unsanctioned match between two Canadian icons in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. There's Trish Stratus in the arena. Like, we have a lot to talk about, so let's not waste any time and let's get right into my predictions. Now let's begin with the match that I think is gonna kick off the whole Elimination Chamber PLE, and that's the Women's Elimination Chamber match. We have Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Roxanne Perez, and Bayley. Talk about a whole whack of talent in one single matchup. Now, as I was sitting down trying to figure out who I think could win and who could go on to WrestleMania and what their story could be, I was going through every single woman and I was like, man, everybody has a chance to win. Like, legit, WWE has done a good job at making me believe as a fan that any single one of these ladies could go on to WrestleMania. There is technically a story there for everyone. Now, is there favorites? Sure. Is there underdogs? Absolutely. But let's go through every single participant one by one and take a look at how they could potentially win and what that could mean for their WrestleMania match. We got to start off with who I believe is the favorite, because she is the strongest, the toughest, the roughest, and the best of everybody in that match, in my opinion, and that is Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, criminally underrated at this point in her career. She deserves to be viewed as like literally the top tier player in WWE. She should be on a Charlotte Flair level, a Bianca Belair level. She is Bianca Belair. What? A Becky Lynch level, a Rhea Ripley level. She should be viewed in that category, but right now she's holding down the tag team division and has this story going on with like Naomi and Jade Cargill. So it feels like she's not really able to move up the card to where her talent really belongs. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing that Bianca Belair is in the tag division and elevating Naomi as a result, elevating Jade Cargill, but the focus isn't really on the tag team titles, is it? It's more so on who attacked Jade Cargill. But anyways, Bianca Belair, truly one of the best women in the entire women's division, and her versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania is no doubt one of the biggest matches that WWE has available to them. There has only been 2 one-on-one matches between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, and both of them took place down in NXT. The first one being on a random episode in 2019, and the second one being at NXT TakeOver Portland. We have been through a whole pandemic since they've last faced each other. Their star powers have grown, they have come into their own characters. Rhea Ripley is almost like completely a different woman compared to that time in NXT. You need to see Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair on the grandest stage of them all at some point. It just has to happen. But the question is that this year? Because everything going on with Jade Cargill, Naomi, the tag team titles, it makes me believe that there's going to be a WrestleMania program involving Jade or Naomi or something like that. I don't see Bianca Belair winning this match just simply because of the story she's already invested in. Now, I may be wrong. Maybe Jade Cargill's out for a long time. Maybe they want Jade Cargill to return back after Bianca Belair has won a women's championship at WrestleMania. That could be a thing. But if I'm a betting man, I think Jade Cargill is going to reveal who attacked her sooner rather than later, and maybe even potentially at Elimination Chamber. I want to paint a scenario for all of you. Imagine if we are down to either the final 3, which is Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and Naomi, or we start off in the match with Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan. And can you imagine if at some point Jade Cargill shows up on the Jumbotron and she reveals some security footage of who attacked her, revealing it to be Bianca Belair? Depending on when it happens in the match, if it opens the match or if it's in the final 3, like I said, it could completely completely dictate how the match is going to go. If it's revealed at the start, well, Naomi's going to be seething, going to be pissed off inside of the pod. Or you could even flip it. If it was Naomi who took out Jade Cargill, maybe Bianca Belair seething inside the pod. You get what I mean? There's maybe a story here that they could reveal it at the start in order to make the match feel a little more intense. You have Liv Morgan laughing in the background because she's like, haha, told you I didn't do it. Meanwhile, there's turmoil between Bianca and Naomi. Hell, maybe you could even add in a little bit of a mystery if both Bianca and Naomi were viewed on camera. Maybe they attacked her together. But this would also be an incredible way to finish the whole match if you had Bianca Belair or Naomi up on the Jumbotron taking out Jade Cargill. Maybe Jade Cargill returns literally in the match, attacks one of Bianca or Naomi, and this somehow allows Liv Morgan to walk out with the win. Well, okay, I kind of just spoiled it. Let's get into Liv Morgan now. Because I think Liv Morgan is my true favorite to win this match, okay? Well, Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley is the big-time WrestleMania match. The stories being told lead me to believe Liv Morgan has to be the favorite. Liv Morgan has been intertwined with Rhea Ripley for a long time, of course, and then she's also feuding with Io Sky a little bit. We've seen Io Sky and Liv Morgan crush it in the ring. We've seen Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley crush it in the ring. There's not a lot going on around the Women's Championship that has a deep story other than Liv Morgan versus Rhea, so why not make this a triple threat at WrestleMania? We do know Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are set to face each other after Elimination Chamber. It seems to me the winner of the Chamber could easily interject themselves into that matchup, and we got a triple threat build going into the show of shows. It could also just be whoever wins the Chamber faces whoever wins that match, and it could be Liv versus Io, it could be Liv versus Rhea, but man, to me, I think a triple threat would bang at WrestleMania. And like, of course, Liv Morgan has all that deep history with Dominic Mysterio. WWE loves playing off of Dominic and Rhea, so if they don't have a lot of big plans at WrestleMania for Dom even, then that's an easy way to get him into something. And this would also give Liv Morgan a big win. Like, how many times have we seen her be the runner-up or the MVP of a match? It's time for Liv to get a big-time win. And you know, she should be at WrestleMania. She had a hell of a year. She crushed it over the last year and a bit, ever since coming back and becoming women's champion. I think she probably deserves to be at WrestleMania 41 and to be in a world title program. She doesn't deserve to be in a tag team title match. No offense, unless it was a big time story. She deserves to be in the main echelon. What is that word I just said? The upper echelon, there we go, of the women's division. So those would be the two favorites. I guess Naomi could also be considered one of the potential favorites, especially with anything going on with Jade Cargill, but her holding on to the tag team titles makes me also think that there is a feud and a program around WrestleMania involving either the tag team titles or her tag team partner Bianca Belair. So I'm going to write Naomi off. I don't think she walks out with the win. Bayley would be what I would consider the safe call, like Rhea Ripley versus Bayley. Yeah, that's a Mania match, no doubt about it. It's a big enough one, and Rhea Ripley has been going on facing 4 horsewomen for the last however many years. She had Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. She had Becky Lynch. Now she could face Bayley. She's just missing Sasha in there, although that's not happening anytime soon. And if they did decide to run Bayley versus Rhea Ripley, it would be a bit of a tip of the cap to Bayley, who, let's face it, has been crushing it for the better part of 2 years, and people just still haven't truly gotten behind Bayley. It's WrestleMania season. Give her another big win. Maybe the fans will get behind her. I do struggle to see how you would put Bayley up against Rhea Ripley, though, at WrestleMania without one of them turning heel. And unless you're changing Bayley back to being a heel, this just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'll also say no to Bayley. But then there's Roxanne Perez, the new star on the block, the new character who people really don't know too much about. If WWE wanted to do something fun, they could easily put Rhea Ripley up against Roxanne Perez at WrestleMania. Again, the only problem is that I think Roxanne Perez should be a babyface in that type of feud, and Rhea Ripley should probably be the heel, because you got this small girl going up against this bigger girl. It's a tough dynamic to sell Roxanne as like the mean girl and Rhea as the babyface champ who's up against all odds. Like, I don't know how you would necessarily sell that match, and it doesn't seem to be the WrestleMania match for this year, just because there's bigger matches available, in my opinion. But still, Roxanne Perez, if she won it, I would be more than fine to see her go to WrestleMania and fight for the women's world title. It would be a great matchup, and it would be a great way to introduce this new star. So yeah, sure, I'd say that she's definitely an underdog who could potentially win. And then there's Alexa Bliss. Now, Little Miss Bliss, I have no clue what those plans are for her, and I don't think really many people do, outside of being involved with the Wyatt Six. Now, if you wanted to create a new story going into WrestleMania, some new new intrigue. I don't think anybody would be upset if Alexa did win this and went on to face Rhea Ripley, and the whole feud was that Alexa's got some connections to the Wyatt Six, while Rhea Ripley is wondering what the hell is going on. You could have some spooky stuff with Nikki Cross showing up out of nowhere. You could have Uncle Howdy and Rhea Ripley interact in some way. There's definitely intrigue around that, and it would send the Wyatts to the next level, at least in the eyes of the fans. But there's a problem with this. Rhea's on Raw. The Wyatts literally just got moved to SmackDown. So again, maybe Alexa has some connection with them, and it's not like immediately revealed what that connection is. And so Alexa could face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and maybe the Wyatts get involved at WrestleMania, and that draws Alexa Bliss over to SmackDown afterwards. But again, it just feels very complicated. I would much rather see the Wyatt Six get involved at the Elimination Chamber in some way, distracting Alexa or possessing Alexa, or imagine if Alexa Bliss just like the lights, people will lose their minds because we hate those red lights, but if the lights went red randomly, let's just say, and Alexa Bliss just all of a sudden was like in a trance and she walked out of the Elimination Chamber eliminating herself, like there would be questions around that, and maybe that's a way to connect her back to the Wyatt Six. But again, I have no clue what's going on there. So it really does feel like Liv Morgan is the most logical one, unless you're playing a longer game with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Like, if they want Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to fight for the women's title, they could do that down the line. That could be a SummerSlam match. That could definitely main event night 1 of SummerSlam. Hell, maybe even night 2. But you know what? I'm rambling all over the place at this point. I do believe it's going to be Liv Morgan. She's going to walk out with the win, and then we're going to get some sort of triple threat at WrestleMania. Okay, lock it in. Okay, through that one, now let's go on to a match that should be a lot more straightforward. We're talking about Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. Like, this should be about as simple gets, right? It's going to be the hometown hero Trish Stratus and the women's champion Tiffany Stratton beating Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, right? I mean, I just don't see a scenario where it makes any sense for Candice and Nia to pick up this win. Like, they could, I guess. Like, if Trish Stratus turns on Tiffany Stratton, yeah, maybe. And if this was at any other, like, PLE through the year, I would say that this is a very highly likely possibility. We could very well see Trish turn on Tiffany, and then we would get an actual matchup between the two, which honestly, looking at it, it's probably what should have happened at this PLE. We probably should have gotten Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus tagging together against Nia and Candice on SmackDown, and then have Trish Stratus turn on Tiffany, thus giving us this match between Tiffany and Trish at Elimination Chamber. And like, that would be the best stepping stone possible, because it would be Tiffany trying to pick up a win over a Canadian legend en route to going to WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair, who, let's face it, is viewed as miles above Tiffany Stratton right now. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher for this match. But usually when there's matches that make you scratch your head, there's going to be an angle that is run. And I do believe that Charlotte Flair is going to get involved at some point in this match, whether it's her coming down to sit at ringside or whether it's her actually interjecting herself into the matchup. What I'm hoping for is that I do hope that Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton pick up a clean win over Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. It would be kind of silly to see Tiffany lose after everything that they've built her up to. Like, she needs wins right now. But after the loss, I think we need to go for heat. I would love to see Charlotte Flair come on down to the ring, and whether it's Nia Jax and Candice LeRae that take out Trish Stratus, leaving Tiffany Stratton all alone, whether it was Charlotte Flair handcuffing Tiffany Stratton to the bottom rope and taking out Trish Stratus right in front of Tiffany Stratton. Like, there's a lot of ways we could add heat onto Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany. I need Charlotte Flair to play mind games. And like, let's be frank, she has been playing mind games so far. She's pointing at the WrestleMania sign. She's sitting above her saying, "Wakey, wakey, Tiffy." Like, there's a lot of things that Charlotte Flair is doing right now that is just poking and prying at Tiffany Stratton. But we need something that's actually going to piss off Tiffany. And imagine if that comes in the form of taking out Trish Stratus, her tag team partner for the night. Maybe Tiffany Stratton says something along the lines of how much Trish Stratus has inspired her through her career, how much she looks up to her, how much this is a dream for her. You can really paint it at this is her idol, right? This is her all-time favorite. I don't know if it actually is, but they could definitely say this is her all-time favorite, and then take out Trish Stratus. Oh my God, that would be insane. If you took out Trish Stratus in Canada in front of the Canadian crowd with Tiffany handcuffed to the bottom rope, hey, like, that is a heat magnet right there, and without a doubt, people would be booing Charlotte Flair. But anyways, official prediction Extraction, Tiffany and Trish walk out with the win. All right, next up, let's talk about a match that honestly could be a WrestleMania match. It's Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match. Now, what is an unsanctioned match? It really is just like WWE saying no holds barred, no disqualification, bloodline rules, you name it. If it's got no rules, it's pretty much the same thing. But the difference here with an unsanctioned match is that WWE is basically saying, doesn't matter what happens in that ring. Not our fault, not our problem. If you get hurt, we don't care. If you die, well, that sucks to suck. You can't sue us. It's actually such a wild concept, and I'm pretty sure it originates from back in the territory days when you had to adhere to the sports commission or whatever the hell it was. Nowadays, it's pretty much just to tell us folks at home that these two people hate each other and that they're about to rip each other's skulls apart, which is crazy because it might actually happen, as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn can't stand each other. They have a long history together, and like Sami Zayn even said on TV, there's not many people that have come all the way up through the system together. They started on the independent scene from Laval, Quebec, Canada, and they've grown through PWG, Ring of Honor, through NXT, now to the main roster. They've been tag team partners. They've main evented WrestleMania together, and here they are once again, bitter enemies. But this time it's different. It's not just about championships. It's not just about trying to get ahead in the company. This was Sami Zayn's career basically being taken away from by Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens basically being threatened from Sami Zayn. The two can't stand each other because they're literally threatened to take each other's career away. They both have families at home. They both know how much this business means to each other, so this is really personal. But the only thing with the unsanctioned match that I have questions about is this going to be an actual matchup? Like, is this ending via pinfall? Or is this going to be a straight up fight throughout the arena? Like, are we going to see 20 minutes of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens brawling through the concourse, brawling through the aisles, going down into this stage area, behind the scenes, everything like that? Are we going to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens just fight each other for 20-25 minutes without actually getting a proper victor? Or is there going to be a referee following them around where it's falls count anywhere? Does the fall actually have to take place in the ring? So do they have to get back to the ring? Like, there's a lot of good questions here. Now, what I love about this concept is that if they do fight all around the stadium, it is going to be fighting around Canada's most famous arena, famous stadium, the Rogers Centre, formerly known as the Skydome. This is the same place that held WrestleMania 18. I believe we saw Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior there. We've seen countless big time moments. It's the home of the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, this is Canada's most famous stadium, and it's a big venue inside the Rogers Centre. There's so much space that I truly believe WWE could do some crazy cool things with a fight between Sami and Kevin all over the arena. Another part of me wonders, is this going to be the main event? Because sometimes, at least historically speaking, wrestling events have said, okay, this show's over, now we're going into the unsanctioned match or the lights out match or however you want to call it. We're going into the match that we are not actually saying is being put on by us. This is not put on from us. We are just supplying the ring. They have signed off on their waivers. They're not going to sue us. They can't sue us. This is just a fight. So like, it very well might be the main event, and there's so many things that may go down. But let's get into the actual predictions part, because like, in my eyes, this match needs one person. We need the return of Randy Orton. Randy Orton has been missing ever since taken out by Kevin Owens with the package pile driver, and it's what started this whole downward trend of Kevin Owens just snapping and being an absolute menace, going up against Cody Rhodes, and now against his friend, his best friend, in Sami Zayn. Now, in my eyes, he's going to come back in one of two ways. One, it's either going to be because Kevin Owens is just absolutely destroying Sami. I'm talking about steel chair shot after steel chair shot, uncomfortable moment, lining him up for a package pile driver on a ladder or on an announce table. There's got to be some uncomfortable levels to this beatdown from Kevin Owens. And I think it's going to make the whole crowd so sympathetic for Sami Zayn. People will be so behind him that nobody wants to see what Kevin's about to do to him, to the point that when they get Randy Orton returning, the pop will be enormous. If Randy Orton came out and saved Sami Zayn from this massive beatdown from Kevin Owens, that is an easy way to get to Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton Orton at WrestleMania. And this works if this is a unsanctioned match that is just a straight up fight. If there's no pinfalls, if there's no submissions, then you need a way to get out of this match. And if the way is Randy Orton returning and scaring off Kevin Owens and preventing Sami Zayn from taking any more punishment, all right, good guy Randy. But if there is pinfalls and submissions in this match, then this just straight up doesn't work, because in my opinion, this should be the last time Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn face each other one-on-one. This is the storybook ending to their rivalry against each other. It's time to separate them truly moving forward. They've won tag team gold at WrestleMania, and now they're going to fight in potentially the main event, or at least one of the big time matches in Canada's most famous stadium, the Rogers Centre. Yeah, that will do it. So if this is a pinfall, we need Kevin Owens to win. All right, straight up, Kevin Owens coming off of a loss to Cody Rhodes. He's going to go into WrestleMania as a very important figure. He needs this win over Sami Zayn. And the way that you get there is we got to have Kevin Owens manipulate Sami Zayn to the point that Sami Zayn feels bad for Kevin. Maybe Sami is about to hit him with another haluva kick, with like, maybe Kevin's got a chair in front of his face and Sami's about to hit a haluva kick, but Kevin Owens pleads for his life. He pleads for his friendship with Sami Zayn, lures him in. Sami's about to give him a hug, and KO hits the low blow, hits the pop-up power bomb, maybe the stunner, whatever his finisher is these days, and picks up the win over Sami Zayn. To me, that's the better finish. That's the one that will make the most sense, and that will give Kevin Owens a ton of heat moving forward into the future, while completely putting a little bow on this feud between Sami and Kevin. But where do we go from there? How do we get Randy Orton back at that point? Well, just have Kevin Owens beat down Sami Zayn after the match, and then Randy Orton can come and make the save. You could literally do what I was talking about, where he's threatening to package pile drive him on the announce table and Randy makes the save. You could do that then, and you could also give Kevin Owens a win. So anyways, no idea how this is actually going to go, but in my eyes, I see Kevin Owens walking out with the win. Now let's talk about The Rock and Cody Rhodes, where Rock has asked Cody to make a decision if he will be his champion. The Rocker Taker came out swinging, man. He really wanted Cody Rhodes' soul, and let's be real, Cody's got a big decision to make, because this is not just a simple offer from The Rock. This is a life-changing offer from Rocky. We're talking about a dude with a 500 million followers who is offering you the world, to be the most famous champion, the best champion, the most well-dressed, the best paid, everything. He wants him to be his champion, his corporate champion. Now, if you're Cody Rhodes, you got to be considering this, because this is like generational wealth that's sitting right in front of your face. Rock could literally help your entire family for generation after generation after generation. You'd be setting up your grandkids, man. But it's also a tough decision for Cody, because, man, if you sell your soul, what are you selling it for? Or what are you going to have to do? What's Rocky going to ask of you? Now, I, just like you, am waiting for this segment to play out, because I could guess a million different things, but I don't even think WWE has this fully ironed out, what's going on with The Rock at the moment. All I know is he's back in WWE. He's got this story planned with Cody, and now we're going to find out if Cody will swing on over to the dark side. In a way, I kind of see Rock as Emperor Palpatine and Cody Rhodes as Anakin Skywalker. Now, I'm not the first person to make this reference, but a lot of people are picking up on the fact that Cody is kind of like this fallen idol. He's in limbo right now. He's had a lot of things go on in his life, and a lot of people have turned on him recently, to the point that he's got to be questioning what is it he's doing. He's in a very vulnerable state, and this Master Sith Lord in The Rock just swooped on in and said, hey, I'll give you everything you've ever wanted. All you have to do is sell me your soul. Now, Anakin's reason for switching on over to the dark side is a little more justified, because he's trying to save Padme. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes is just trying to save his WWE championship, so it's maybe not on the same level. But still, hey, you can see why Cody Rhodes would maybe be desperate at this point, after everybody has left him around him, and he's just looking at this championship saying, what am I doing this for? I'm losing my mind. I'm getting beat up. I'm losing friends. What is this all for? If not for my family, then why am I doing this? And if The Rock's just dangling generational wealth in front of your face, man, you might have to take it. If I'm Cody Rhodes, you gotta be questioning your morals. What is Rock gonna ask you to do? Is this still you? Will you still be able to be your same person if you go down this path? Probably not. So what changes are you gonna be making? Man, Cody's got a really tough decision. Now look, as for Cody's decision at the PLE, it could go either way. It's likely gonna go in the direction of Cody Rhodes saying, no, Rock, I'm my own man. Thank you for the offer, but but I'll pass. And I don't think this is going to piss off The Rock. I don't think he's going to be upset, but I do think it's going to lead to a larger story at play, and probably something along the lines of Rock saying, all right, if that's your decision, that's your decision. But I'll tell you what, I'll give you one more chance at any given time. If you want, before WrestleMania, come to me and I'll make it worth your while. Maybe that sits with Cody on the road to WrestleMania. Maybe that's sitting there in the back of his head during his WrestleMania match. All in all, I don't think what happens at Elimination Chamber is going to be the end of this story, and something's going down at WrestleMania. We'll get into it more in just a sec here. So now we go into the Elimination Chamber to figure out who's going to go on to WrestleMania to face Cody Rhodes, and it's going to be one of these 6 men. It's either Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, CM Punk, or John Cena. Now, unlike the Women's Elimination Chamber, I think this one has a few more people that are more likely to win than the others, and there's a few people in this chamber that I just see having no chance of winning, but it is an incredibly stacked chamber match. So let's get the people who I don't see winning this match out of the way to start. All love to Damian Priest, but I just don't know where he fits in at the WrestleMania card. Him versus Cody Rhodes doesn't feel like a WrestleMania match, even though they have been teasing it a little bit on TV. And if Gunther wasn't already chosen by Jey Uso, then hey, maybe Damian Priest could go after Gunther again. But as it sits right now, Damian Priest feels like the longest of long shots to win the Elimination Chamber. And I also hate to say this, Drew McIntyre doesn't feel like he's going to be a guy who is going to win this Elimination Chamber either, which is horrible after his incredible year in 2024. But after his recent losses on free TV, it just feels like his star power has been completely cooled after his feud with CM Punk, and now he's got to rebuild himself again. So unfortunately for Drew, I don't see him winning it. Logan Paul is another name who could have potentially won this match if Gunther was still available to be chosen for the WrestleMania match. But now that Jey Uso's going there, I just don't know if Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes screams WrestleMania main event. In fact, I would err on the side of caution and say they're not going to run that match back at WrestleMania this year, because why would you? Unless, you know, you just really believe that Logan Paul and his social media following is going to bring a lot more eyes to that match against Cody Rhodes, in which case, maybe it makes sense, but not this year in my opinion. So that leaves us with 3 people: Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena. So let's start with Seth Rollins, who could potentially face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. And, you know, Seth Rollins and Cody have a long history together. It was Seth Rollins who faced Cody Rhodes in his very first match back in WWE. Obviously, they had that trilogy that was inside Hell in a Cell as well, where Cody Rhodes tore his pec and wrestled the whole damn match with that thing. We've seen Cody and Seth team together. They've been friends. It's been an interesting relationship. And now we're at the point that we could maybe see the two of them main event WrestleMania together. If you told me a year ago this could have been the match at Mania, I might have believed you, but this year it just feels like Seth Rollins is close, but not at that point. It doesn't feel like he's the biggest match available for Cody Rhodes. He probably sits down the list at number 3 or number 4 at this point. And also, after stomping Roman Reigns' head in at the Royal Rumble, it makes me think that there's maybe some unfinished business there. In fact, my bold prediction is that Roman Reigns is going to be the one who costs Seth Rollins this match and helps him get eliminated. And I don't know if that maybe plays into the favor that is owed him from Paul Heyman. It could be something along the lines of like, hey, during the Elimination Chamber match, I need Roman Reigns to come in and do me a simple favor. If I'm in trouble, I need him to save me, or I need him to help me take out Seth Rollins, or whatever the case may be. There might be something with that favor there, but again, the favor to me is a longer story that I don't think we're going to see until well after WrestleMania. If The Rock wasn't involved in this year's WrestleMania, the favor might have come into play a little more, and hell, like I said, it may still come into play in this match. But that in my eyes brings us down to 2 people who are very likely going to win this. It's either going to be CM Punk or John Cena in my eyes. And the reason being is all you got to do is take a look at who the WWE champion is and who could face him in a main event matchup of night 2 of WrestleMania. It's CM Punk or John Cena that is the biggest match possible. And with The Rock being involved with this whole corporate champion nonsense that's going on, it really makes me wonder if we're going in the direction of John Cena versus Cody, where you have this perennial good guy and the guy who could potentially follow in his footsteps in the main event of WrestleMania. Or do you go the guy who's been against the system forever in CM Punk versus a guy who, let's face it, was also relatively against the system, but now is potentially buying into the system, maybe potentially selling out to The Rock. And like, if you look at that on paper, either way that they go, that is a massive WrestleMania main event, but there is an opportunity there to do one of the biggest moments in WrestleMania history against either John Cena or CM Punk. Can you imagine if the final image of WrestleMania 41 is in a similar way to Austin shaking Vince McMahon's hand? Can you imagine if Cody Rhodes aligns with this new devil in The Rock, the final boss? Can you imagine if the final image of WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes and The Rock shaking hands after The Rock and Cody screwed over either John Cena or CM Punk? Crazy, man. But out of the two, CM Punk feels like he would be in a better position to be that guy going against the new heel in Cody Rhodes. People love CM Punk, and CM Punk is around full time right now, and he would kill it in this anti-authority type of anti-Cody Rhodes role where he is against the system. That is what CM Punk is born for. He is born to be a disruptor. He's born to go against the grain. So in my eyes, that I just talked myself into it, okay? Like, I was literally split on John Cena and CM Punk, but it's got to be CM Punk. It has to be. All love for John, but John Cena isn't going to be the guy who is going against the system for the last part of his time in WWE. He's just not. He's not going to be that guy who's fighting against Cody Rhodes, trying to take away that championship and become the 17th world champion. Or maybe he will be. Like, maybe I'm wrong on that one, but right after WrestleMania, going into WrestleMania, it needs to be CM Punk. CM Punk has all the fans behind him, and I think everybody would be behind CM Punk if there was a heel turn. If he got screwed over in the main event of WrestleMania, every single fan out there would be behind Phil. And also, there's something about the final image of the Elimination Chamber as CM Punk beats John Cena, seeing that same defeated John Cena that we saw at the Royal Rumble. There is such a trend that we could go into that John Cena just doesn't have it anymore. And then you go into like WrestleMania against a guy like Logan Paul. Dude, you could have Logan Paul prying on John Cena. You could be basically having him say, I'm the new young superstar. You're an old man. You're on your retirement tour. I'm on the up right now. The social media following that you could get between John Cena and Logan Paul would draw so many eyes. Like, it's gotta be on the table. And also, I like this idea that John Cena just inserted himself into the Elimination Chamber, but because he didn't win his way into it, he lost. Just like he didn't win his way into the Royal Rumble, he lost. He has to prove himself now. No longer can John Cena just put himself in championship matches, especially if he's lost the Rumble and the Chamber. And can you imagine if he lost at WrestleMania to Logan Paul? The heat would be nuts, and people would be so like, what's going on with John? Like, and then there would be doubt around John Cena. Can he win the championship that he's come back for? Does he even deserve to be fighting for that 17th world championship, right? After losing to Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Like, that would be a valid concern, and I think that story for John is far more intriguing than him winning his 17th world championship at WrestleMania 41. And we've talked about SummerSlam already. Imagine if night 2 of SummerSlam is a heel Cody Rhodes versus a babyface John Cena. You know, like, you could do something like that, and that would be big time business. But yeah, my official prediction to win the men's Elimination Chamber is CM Punk. In my eyes, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, biggest match available. Like, we've already seen how CM Punk is able to get under Cody's skin. He said that he was going to stab him in the front, right? Everything has been laid out for Punk and Rhodes, and like, yeah, there's a bunch of different programs that are being laid out and teased at the moment, but that was the one that felt most like a WrestleMania program that would get a ton of people interested. Plus, let's face it, CM Punk deserves his WrestleMania main event. But there you have it, everyone. Those are my Elimination Chamber predictions. Let me know yours down in the comments below. And also, while you're down there, make sure you leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you never miss another upload. If you want more content, be sure to check me out over on Patreon, as we have lots of great stuff over there. And also, if you're going to Elimination Chamber and you see me there, be sure to say hello. I love getting to meet you guys. But thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.